Right, I'm going to introduce our next act. Torquay Food Festival has been going on for 5 years, I believe, is that right?
5 years.
Right.
Yeah, feels like 12, but it's 5.
This man behind me has been the star of the show every year. He's been so hardworking. He's put it together for the last 5 years. Used to be the executive head chef at the Grand Hotel, which is why he's doing the Torquay Food Festival. Now is the proprietor of the Devon Scone Company. Not only that, he's a double world record holder. He holds the world record for the biggest Devon cream tea scone, 8 foot wide, weighed a ton. Portions were about that thick. He also holds the world record as a team for making the most cups of tea in an hour.
Yeah, they're really useful records that everyone remembers, the sort of things that, you go down in history for.
Don't knock it. It's called marketing.
I did it before anyone else did.
Absolutely. We smashed the record, if I was a part of the team as well. The original record was held by Ollie Meurs, and it was something like 425 cups of tea in an hour, and we did, if I remember rightly, 738. And we sold them all for charity, which was great.
Yeah, it was good, yeah.
Children's
Hospital.
Hospital.
It was good fun.
Southwest. So, double world record holder. He's been on one of the most obscure cookery programs I've ever seen.
Great, that's a good plug, isn't it? Yeah, the most obscure program in the world.
Do you like cookery programs on TV? Has anybody ever seen a program called Iron Chef? You've seen a program called... Have you seen...
There's the one audience member.
Have you seen the American version or the English version? Both. This man was on the English version.
Nothing like the American version, that's for sure.
I have watched it 3-4 times. I still to this day do not understand what the rules were.
Neither did anyone else, I tell you.
It didn't last that serious, did it?
Well, surprisingly not, no, I don't know why. It hasn't quite the longevity of MasterChef, has it really?
Not quite. But, to trump that, he has been the person who taught Kirsty Allsop how to make scones. And was on Kirsty Allsop's Christmas programme year before last. So, Kirsty Allsop's personal chef. Can you please put your hand together for Richard Hunt?
Thank you. Well, that's an auspicious introduction. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Are you having a good time? Are you enjoying the show? Is it a bit of fun? Yeah, good. Right, we're going to have a bit of a giggle here. I've been foraging. We talked about it early on. So it's called raiding a stand and going, I want your rhubarb. Because we're going to do a couple of dishes today. I'm going to use cod as well today, but I'm also going to do a dessert for you. I'm going to do a rhubarb and plum crumble with a granola topping, and then a vanilla mascarpone on the side. Very easy, very simple to do. Anyone can do it, but it's something you can do at home really quickly if you want a quick dessert or if you've got friends coming around. It's nice and simple. The cod dish I'm going to do, I'm going to roast some cod off in a pan, nice and crispy. This will be the in word of the day, asparagus. Everyone's using it because it is in season. And I'm going to do a tomato, dill, shallot dressing with it. Just very vibrant, very quick. Again, it's something that you can do that you doesn't need loads of ingredients to do it, but it'll be really fresh, quite healthy. And then we'll have the dessert. Will be a bit of indulgence first, all right? Afterwards. Right, I've got my cod. Now, earlier on, I went up to Fish for All up in Belgrave Road. He wasn't open, but I banged on the door and got some beautiful cod off him. This was dayboat cod from Brixham. I mean, that's a beautiful fillet of cod. Now, again, one of the things I always used to do when I was doing restaurants, and I still do quite a lot of outside catering and things, is not to buy small fish. And it's a bit of a principle of mine. I'm a sea angler anyway. Well, when I catch fish, as my other half tells me, is that when they're big fish, they've had a chance to breed, and you've had the next generation. When you get a sea bass that's this big, that's about 3 years old, and it still hasn't had time to breed yet. Now this cod came off, I think it was about an 8 to 9 pound cod. So it's a good prime bit of fish. Beautifully white, beautifully fresh. Very, very lovely. So we're going to prepare it now. The guy was fantastic because he actually pin boned it for me and took all the pin bones out. It was like, you're going to prep it for me as well in a minute. Make it really simple for my demonstration, but I've got to show you guys something as well today. So all we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of beautiful medallions off it. I'm going to take the belly off. If there's any bones there, I'm going to just take that out because there's a bit of sinew in there as well. Nice sharp knife. Now, there's a story about these knives. Over the years, I've had hundreds of knives and they get stolen everywhere I go. Trainee chefs, certain person stole my fish slice.
I didn't know, really.
No! We did a trade show together and I bought it brand new. And I was like, where is it? And of course, my other half, she's like, you've lost it again, another 20 quid, da-da-da, yada, yada, yada. I rang these guys, I said, have you seen my fish? No, this morning, come in. Who's tossing bacon with my fish slice this morning? And I went out and bought a new one as well. I tell you, can't leave anything. Anyway, so we're just gonna, again, we're gonna keep we can use the trimmings for soup, or if you want to make fish cakes or whatever, very, very simple. I'm gonna take the end off because obviously the thing is with that'll cook differently from the middle bits. Now again, we're in Devon. Yeah, this is not Nouvelle Cuisine for me, okay? That's a portion of fish, all right? If you're going here somewhere else, you'd probably get about that much. Yeah, this is proper. We're checking for any bones. We're going to leave the skin on, and I put a few cuts in the top of the skin, which what that does, it just helps the heat go through the cod. So, I'm just going to get that done there. There we go. Now again, with these knives, as I say, I had them a couple of weeks, and I did anyone go to the big bake show at West Point? Oh, no one did. Oh, that's a relief. No, where Paul Hollywood, Mary Berry were. Well, I did a couple of demonstrations there, and I'd only had them a week, these knives, and I put my hand in, cut myself. Hadn't even picked the knife out of the box. Next day, hand in, cut myself again. So yeah, these are really they are sharp. So we're going to get this on cooking now. I'm going to use a little bit of oil. I like a little bit of vegetable oil. Let's get the gas on. Make sure I get the right one on. Because vegetable oil is quite neutral, but it gets a nice hot temperature. Everyone know the reason why you should never use extra virgin olive oil? Anyone? Hands up. Burns. Can't make it. Yeah, that's right, because there's sediment in it and it will burn. So if you're going to fry with olive oil, use a pomace oil, which is a bit of a mixture of all of them, and it's been specially blended so that it doesn't burn. All right? But I tend to use either vegetable or sunflower for frying things because I can get a nice hotter temperature. And also olive oil has quite a distinct flavour, and I want the fish to have all the flavour. I don't want to distract from it. So we're going to get that nice and hot. Put that there. Now I'm going to, unlike a lot of chefs you'll see, I'm going to season my fish afterwards. Because if you season it before, you'll pull all the moisture out. And if you saw Simon's earlier, a lot of the fine dining restaurants do that to pull the moisture out. Well, I don't do that. I season afterwards. I feel that's a better way. I don't want it to be, there's a potential the fish could be dry. All right. So, well, that's, yeah, we've got some asparagus. Which again, all from the sort of, this is from the southwest now. I'll change my board in a second. Beautiful asparagus. How many people don't like asparagus? Excellent, you'll be first to try it then. Sorry. One thing about my dems, never put your hand up. Yeah, it's exactly, sorry, I should have told you that first, shouldn't I? No, it's one of those things, it's always been a love or hate. I mean, again, when I was growing up, we didn't really have it that often. Perhaps for 4 weeks during the summer, you know, the spring, summer, that was it, and it was gone, because it didn't used to come from Peru, like it does now. Peru, some from Australia, some from Egypt, you know, you can get it any time of the year. But the English stuff has just a wonderful flavour. Right, nice and hot. Wonderful pans. Table tennis bats. Secret with a good frying pan, heavier they are, the better they are, all right? Ones that are very, very light, don't buy them. Your $2.99 from Tesco, within about 6 months you'll be replacing it because either the Teflon will come off or the bottom will warp. All right. If you get a nice heavy one with a nice thick base, it'll never warp. It'll always stay flat, and you'll always get it'll be a quality item. It'll last you for years. Right, nice hot. In with the cod. Skin side down because we want that to go nice and crispy. So I'll compete with the Harley Davidson behind. It's all right. Any more? Right, good. Okay. I'm going to start doing my little salsa type dressing. So I've got some tomatoes here, some banana shallot, we talked about that earlier, Who likes chilli? Oh good, right, I'll put some of that in then. I wasn't going to, it just depends how many people liked it. I've got some dill as well. I'm just going to peel this shallot off. Nice and simply. Nice and fine. Need a big knife for the chopping. Can't. I trust this knife. I've had this one for a few years. I mustn't say it. It's never cut me yet. Medic. Right, no. This knife I bought cost me about £30, but it's very, very light and it's very, very thin. And the thing is, with knives, the bigger the knife you use, the more confidence you get. You know, everyone worries about using a big knife. It's not the knife that will cut you; it's yourself, because you're in control. The knife's not sitting there going, "Ah, I'm going to cut your hand off today." You know, it's you, and it's the simple rules as we talked about earlier on. Nice sharp knife, and always keep your fingers behind the blade. When I see commie chefs doing this, I'm like, oh God. You know, I'm good at stitching, but I'm not that good. So, I've got my shallots there. Now I'm going to turn the gas down a little bit on my cod because I want it to cook. I don't want to put it in the oven. I want to let the pan do all the work. So I want all the heat to come up through the cod from the skin side. And you'll see in a minute that the cod will actually start changing colour as the heat comes through and starts cooking it. All right? And also, my danger is I'll put these in the oven and melt all the handles. And then I'll never be forgiven by this lot over here. So, you know. Right. So we've got our shallots. In we go. Now I'm going to add, because this is a dressing and it's going to have tomato in it, it's got the shallots in it, it's going to have a little bit of oil in it, and it's got, have we got any vinegar? No, that's fine. Don't worry, don't worry. We've got a lime and a little bit of lime. The sugar will just counteract all that acidity and balance it out. So it's only a little sprinkle. Quite often a lot of chefs use it as seasoning. Just a little sprinkle. It'll just take the harshness out of everything. All right. Right, lovely tomatoes. If they're on the vine, even better. I'm just going to take the middle bits out. We just want the flesh. Obviously, there's nothing nicer than taking a tomato off the vine. Anyone growing their own this year? Going to grow their own? Yeah, you can't beat it, can you? Again, in the kitchen, we wouldn't throw any of that away. It'd be used in stocks and soups and things like that. There we go. Now, I would skin, if I was doing ultra fine dining, I would skin these, but I don't see the point. We're just wasting more food. We don't want to be doing that. I'm going to cut it small enough so you won't, you know, it won't catch in the plate. Everyone who knows what I'm talking about. You know. What do you mean catching a plate? False teeth. Bruce will tell you. No. No, it's pips, seeds, skin, nightmare. But as long as it's finely cut enough, it's all right. Right, that we go. I'm just going to cut those up. Nice and fine. Nothing worse than watching a chef just sat there chopping away. So you're all hoping I'm going to cut myself. That's what you're just sat there. That's the only reason you sat there, isn't it? Right. While I'm doing that, I'm going to have it now. When I was doing with Bruce's demo, you notice I haven't touched the pan. I haven't moved it around, haven't played with it, and you can hear it. Hopefully it's sizzling. Yeah, it means it's still frying. There's no liquid apart from that oil that I put in the pan. That's it. If I'd moved it around, you'd have got some white liquid in there by now, which is the proteins and the water coming out of the cod. I'm just going to have a quick look at the underneath. Oh yeah. I'll turn that over. Nice crispy skin. That's what you're looking for. Can you see that? Can you see that on the? Anyone? No? Yes? No? No? There we go. Anyone at the back? Yeah? No? Right, good. Right. At least everyone's see. No. Now again, I'm not going to play with it. I've turned it over, leave it alone. Don't get carried away. You know, it's as long as you are control of the gas. Don't you know? It's quite happy. Happy food's what we want. Right, through the tomato. So I did the bake show, and he's so used to going to all these events and doing all your own preparation and everything. And I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was doing a treacle and orange tart. So I got up in the morning, made a blind shell, made the pastry, made a tart, you know, the old show and tell and all that. Get there and he said, oh, we've done it all for you. I'm like, oh, great. Oh, you do that for every chef? I'm like, really? You want to go to some of the shows I go, you get a tent and you know, you're lucky if you get a board to work on. Yeah, it's the most nerve-wracking I've ever been. I was on the Friday, and I was just before Mary Berry. So I had 4,000 people sat in front of me with a 70-foot TV screen behind me going, look, he's made that mistake, look. You know, warm-up act. Right, okay. Now that cod is cooking through that heat, because you remember earlier on I said the fish cooks at 55 centigrade. So that's not that hot when you think about it. It's hot enough when you eat it in your mouth, that feels hot, but it's not like 100 or 120, you know, you don't need to do that. So, turn the gas up a little bit. There's probably a gust of breeze. Right, a little bit more tomato. It's fine. Yada, yada, yada. Beautiful. Right. That's the boring bit done. Let's get that in there. So in with that. So we've got our tomato in there, our shallot in there, and also, if you add a little bit of sugar into something like that, it will start curing it. A bit like when you do smoked salmon and things, the sugar actually starts breaking it down. It's a bit like one of those things, if you add sugar to egg and don't mix it straight away, the egg will burn because the sugar will start breaking the egg down. It's one of those things it's quite an interesting experiment. You put an egg down and put some sugar on it and you'll see the egg change as it breaks down. And it's quite a little test. Right, some oil. Now, oh, hello. Sit, stay. Right. Bit of rapeseed oil. So who uses rapeseed oil? It's all the fashion. Look out for the Taste Awards from Taste of the West. I judged some this year. It's absolutely fantastic. This is a fantastic product as well. But there are some, I think it's from Cornwall. Really tremendous. Really, I gave it a gold and I think it won a gold. So a little bit of oil, a little bit of seasoning. Again, flavour, that's what we're all about. One of my pet hates in kitchens is people who use that cracked pepper. The stuff just where it's been ground up into pieces about that big. And you see chefs using it everywhere and it's like, would you like to eat a teaspoon of gravel? Anyone like, you know, just sit there and eat a teaspoon of it. Just get a pepper mill, it's dead easy, you know. Right. Our cod is beginning to really finish off, so an important factor. We don't be shy here. Right, in with the butter. Okay. Well, it's only a soupçon, you know, it's just enough. Just gets that, and what that'll do is that'll bring flavour into it. We can baste it with it, you know, and it will help the cooking process. We're now adding extra, we're building flavours, that's what it's all about. All right, so I'm going to get my other heat on for my asparagus. Right, we've got a little cloth. That'll do. Get my border wipe. Right, a little bit of dill. Dill, you can use fennel tops. Anyone grow fennel at home? Fennel tops, just the same, lovely. Lovely little bit of aniseed, goes great with fish. And again, when you're using any soft herbs like parsley, chives, dill, coriander, basil, when you're doing cooking with them, don't add them at the beginning, add them at the end. The reason being is that if you add them at the beginning, they lose all their flavour and all their colour. Thyme, rosemary, things like that, which tend to be quite hard herbs, need that time to break down. Whereas these soft herbs, you want to impart that flavour right at the last minute. That's why you should always put them in last. All right, a little bit of dill in there. That's lovely. Now a little spoon. Oh, there they are. Those round things that are called. Now all I'm going to do is just baste that cod with a little bit of my butter now. And it's all about flavour. You see how good that looks? Can you see it? There. Well, no, because it's quite a thick piece and it's not gone in the oven, so we're not roasting it. So I would say now, once I'll do is once I've given that a quick baste, I'll season that and I'll leave it rest on the side. Just like that. A little bit of seasoning. I'll use a little bit of acid is always good, a little bit of lime like that. Good squeeze. And we just leave that sit there and just have a bit of a chill, a bit of a relax. The food is not going to go cold. It's one of the big things that people worry about is it's all going to sit there and it'll be freezing. It actually won't because it carries on cooking, so there's always heat going up through it all the time. All right. Right. My asparagus next. Or Britney Spears. Britney Spears? Asparagus Spears? Yeah? No, right, okay. That's about as much as the comedy gets today. Yeah, thank you. Right, we're going to serve it. I'm just going to basically cut it in half. And I'm just going to cook it in a pan. Really, really simply. Again, as I said to you, we don't need any liquid in it because it will cook itself. Very, very easy to do. Now you notice I'm not serving any potatoes or carbohydrate with this. You know, you don't actually need it because the cod's lovely and meaty. You know, it's enough there because it's a good sized portion of fish. Why do you need potatoes with it? You've got some vegetables, you've got a lovely dressing. You know, it's all there. It's nice and light and fresh because that's one thing. You know, potatoes, pasta, bread, that's what fills us up. That's what gives us that horrible feeling, and anyone who's got celiac disease or whatever will know that's what tends to cause the problem, you know. So you don't necessarily need to have potatoes or anything with your dish every time. It's one of those fallacies. Right, a little bit of oil. Oh, I've lost my veg oil. There it is over there. See, well spotted.
Not the rapeseed.
No, not the rapeseed, because I want the asparagus to shine through. Yeah, nice and hot. In we go. Again, that'll be lovely. And what we're trying to do as well is keep a little bit of the texture. It's not about having, now, there's nothing worse than having that crunchy, who hates al dente veg? Yeah. It wants to be cooked, but with a little bit of bite. So you don't go, you know, you can put it in a blender and it will turn into soup. You want it just enough. And this is another good way of doing it. So I'm going to be competing against the band now as well, so that'll be good. Right, let's find a plate. Use a glass one. Right. Yeah, there's no point in me talking now, I'll be served out. That's right. Yeah, thanks guys, cheers. It's alright, we'll wait for them to go. I had it again, I had it at a bake show. I come on stage, I'm doing a masterclass. And I have Paul Hollywood on the main stage with 5,000 people sat there. And it's like, can't hear a thing. Is that right? Right, okay. A little bit of salt on my asparagus, just a touch. My cod, now if I lift up a piece of this, also remember to turn the gas off in front of you, because you can go up like, yeah. If I pull it up, turn it over, it's just beginning to break apart. You see, just the, yeah. And that hasn't gone in the oven, that's all been done on the top of the stove. Right. Quick toss. Now a little trade secret. If I can find one big enough, that'll do. Just put a lid on like that for about 30 seconds to a minute, and that will help the asparagus finish off in its own little steamy little juices. So all will be there. You've lost none of the nutrients or anything, it's right there. So a little trick I'm going to use now. I'm going to use some of the butter and cooking liquor from the fish in my dressing. Because again, we're not wasting anything. All the flavours are in there. And because there's the butter in it, it will coat all the tomato, all the shallot. You know, it won't be a really runny dressing. It'll be quite sort of tight, so it'll be nice. You know, you won't be chasing it around the plate. There's nothing worse than that. You're sitting there and the dressing's all over here and there and everywhere. Right, let's have a quick look at my asparagus. Quick poke, very nearly there. Right. Now I'll tell you what I could do with. I'm going to add a little bit of lime into that, just to sharpen it up a touch. There we go. Can I have that board back so I can start pudding, which is what everyone wants to see. I didn't bother putting the chilli in. I don't think it needs it. Sorry, chilli people. Doesn't need it today. Right. A bit of placing up now. Now, if you look with the asparagus, we've got some lovely colour on it. It's still stayed. Yeah, everyone see? Yeah, no, yes, no, right. Yeah, no. Cool. It's still got a lovely colour on it. It stayed bright green. There's no liquid in the pan. You notice that? There's nothing in there. Because all the liquid has been sealed into the asparagus and it's cooked from the inside out. You see? So, I'm going to take that out. Pop it on the plate, just like that. And you can feel it's cooked. Yeah, see? Hey, excuse me, who was that? Oh, wasn't you again in the second row, was it? No. Right. Lovely bit of asparagus on there. Just take that off there. Pop that there. I'll swap you it for that. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to take this cod, lovely piece of cod, and again it's a good way of if you want to check your fish. If you've got asbestos hands like I have, just roll it over on your hand, and you see it's beginning to break. It's beginning to move on its own. That means it's cooked. Straight onto there like that. You see. You know. And then what we've got this lovely dressing, which is more like a salsa because it's adds to the dish. There's a little bit of, we can put a little bit around the side there. You're not going to see me play around and do all this sort of malarkey with everything. So I mean, you can see how easy that dish was to do. It's taken what, 10, 15 minutes? You know, that's the roast cod with asparagus, tomato, dill, salsa there. Really, really simple, okay? So that's the first one. The girls, I'm sure, will chop that up for you and give you a bit of a taste. Hot, chef.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, careful. Right. Pudding, an important bit. Have I got any pans left? Right. So we're going to use some rhubarb and some plums for this. As I say, I did my bit of foraging off Dart Fresh and went and got them some rhubarb. I mean, it's been a great year for rhubarb, I think, this year. I mean, it's been fantastic. You know, anyone have the Yorkshire, the really light pink stuff when it came through in January? Anyone had that one? No? That's the forced one that comes. It's called the rhubarb triangle in Yorkshire, where they grow it all in the sheds with the candles in the wintertime. And you can tell this is from outside because it's a much darker colour. The one you get in January and February is very, very light pink. It's because it's been deprived of sunlight. And they actually say you can hear it growing in the sheds. And it's only for a couple of months and then it finishes and then the outdoor season begins. So, who doesn't like rhubarb? Oh dear, you should have talked to the lady next to you, shouldn't you? Because do you know what happens when you put your hand up? Oh, you'd be surprised what I've made people do over the years. But we won't talk about that either. Right. Okay. So let me give it a bit of a clean knife. Right. Now again, it's the same principle as the asparagus, is that you don't actually need water to a certain extent to cook these things, because there is so much in it. I mean, if you squeeze some asparagus, there's liquid that comes out of it, which means there is water in there. As long as you cut it all the same size and shape, it's fine. Cut down there. And cut it into nice little pieces. There we go. Now we're going to put it in a pan, just like that. Just dry. I'll do a bit more as well. Let's do this one, split this one down. There we go. We're just going to get the sizzle on that, and we're going to add a little bit of sugar to it, and a little bit of vanilla. And again, let all the liquid do the work. The worst thing you can do is add water to anything like rhubarb or apples or anything, because they are so full of water, it'll be a nightmare. Right. Are you going to deal with that later, are you? Okay. I'm also going to do some plums. Again, a lovely fruit. And one of those things, I'm just going to take the stones out. Hopefully they're not too bad. See, oh yeah, there you go. That's always a sign if it's reasonably ripe, if you can twist it in half and it comes apart without ripping it. Just pop the stone out. There, no problem at all. There we go. Very, very easy. Now normally there's lots of alcohols around here on cook stage, but there isn't any today. And it's very unusual for chefs not to be cooking with any alcohol whatsoever, I tell you. I think they've realised that we're all coming, you know, we're all been a long week. All right, take that one out. Easy. How many people make desserts at home? Good. What's your favourite desserts? Anyway, just shout them out. Crumble? Yeah? Chocolatey, moussey stuff. Okay, well, I haven't got a chocolate or mousse, so I'm a bit... Yeah, oh. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, well, you made that. Yeah. Out of the 4,000 people watch me at the bake show, there's only one person who made the tart. Again, checks in the post. Right. Okay, so I'm now going to add a little bit of sugar to my rhubarb. Now we want it sweet, but we don't want it sickly sweet. There's nothing worse than it's just a gloop and it's just full of sugar. We want it to have that little bit of, oh, that's a little bit tart. Not quite pull the, you know, the Esther Rantzen pull the gums over your teeth sort of bit. Ooh, you know. There's nothing worse than that. You sit there and go, it's lovely, really. You know. And you'll see in a minute that sugar is going to start pulling the liquid out again out of the rhubarb. A bit like salt does, as we talked about. So in the other pan I'm putting my plums side down. There we go. And I want to give them a bit of colour. Now, spoon. It's all very difficult to see, but the rhubarb is now beginning to break down. I'm looking at mirrors. Yeah, you see how it's beginning to come apart? All right. You did what? I'd break down if I was in a hot pan as well. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that really. Right, I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla to it, and this is lovely. This is a little company called Little Pod. They're in East Devon, in Aylesbury, and they just supply vanilla, and they make pastes and all sorts. They make essences and things like that. And we're just going to add a little bit in there, just a touch, because it's very strong. And that will just give an extra dimension to it, what we're looking at. So I can give, because there's liquid now, I can give this a quick toss, you see. You see that colour's beginning to come to the more. I'm just looking at my plums. They're beginning to get a nice bit of caramel on them. Because again, what we're trying to do is liberate the sugar out of the fruit and make that lovely caramel, richy flavour with it. Now, crumble topping. This is where it's the cheats. Now, crumble topping, we all know, flour, butter, sugar. I put oats in mine, everything else. Now, there's nothing worse. Now, I do like the soggy bit, as a soggy crumble. It's horrible. I've bought some granola from wherever. You can buy any one you like. And the reason is that you've got a lovely dry, you've got little different mixed fruits in it. And again, it's something, if you've got in the cupboard at home and you want to make a quick dessert with, you can do it without getting in a mess. Because the last thing you want to do at home is sat there and all of a sudden you've got pots, pans, everything, especially in an evening if you want a quick dessert. This is a way of cooking without having to sit there and go, oh, I've got all that to wash up, oh, you know. And that's when you really forget about it and go, where's the takeaway book? You know? So I'll just turn these over. We've got a lovely colour on them now, which is what we want, which is all flavour. Come on, over you come. That's hot, don't worry about it. There we go. Now all I'm going to do with these is add a little touch of water because again, I want to make a little bit of syrup with these. A little touch of water. A little touch of sugar, just a touch. Okay, my rhubarb is now coming down lovely. We got lovely, smell-o-vision. You see, I'm making a. Oh, where's that gust of wind come from? Are you deliberately trying to blow out my gas? Yeah, I thought you were. Right. So we've got our granola there. I'm going to add a little knob of butter to it. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to sort of bring that together, and I'm just going to. Have we got that baking tray back yet, please? Is it under there?
I think it's up the far corner.
It's over the far corner. I'm just going to put that in the. Oh, it's there. See, it's that big silver one.
Sorry.
Have we got another one? Or do you want to wash that one up?
I'll wash that one up.
Thank you very much. The reason I'm adding a little bit of butter in there is we want it to be healthy, but we don't want it to be that healthy. It's a dessert after all. It's got to be a bit indulgent. You know, that little bit of butter will give that little bit of richness to it at the end of the day. Right, so if I get my little knife on my rhubarb, that's nearly done. Again, same rule applies as when we were doing the asparagus. Just to finish it off, get the correct gas, that helps. And that will just finish the cooking process. You know? With these plums here, we're getting that lovely, and what you'll get with these dark plums is you'll get that lovely coloured syrup. Ah, perfect. Granola on there. I'm just going to give that a quick toast in the oven on about 200 degrees for about 2 or 3 minutes. Don't let me forget. Yeah. You know what I'm like? Or you'll be seeing smoke pouring out the oven going, I'm sure I remember something I was doing today. Right, mascarpone. Fantastic alternative to cream. Anyone use it apart from tiramisu? Yeah, it's a great alternative. It almost has the same flavour. You know, it's lovely and indulgent. And it's such a good carrier for things like vanilla, any flavourings, orange. I'll tell you what I have found here, which I'm going to add, because I think it'll be great, is a little bit of passion fruit. Now, I love a little bit of passion fruit. Just going to add a few seeds in there. Give it a bit of texture as well. There we go. And again, what we're looking at is we've got sugar all around, but we're just looking for this to cut through that little bit of sugar. Touch of vanilla, wherever I put it. Right, anyone spot the vanilla? There it is. Just a little dribble like that. Add a little bit more water into my syrup because it's evaporated, which is what I want. There we go. Check my rhubarb. Now you see, if I pick that up, hot, but see how it goes through the middle? It's cooked, but it's not into puree. It's not that stuff you got, you know, it's nothing worse. It's just that gloop, isn't it? It's just strings of nothing. It's nothing worse than that. Right, so I'm going to add that now into my plums, which are cooked. Turn the gas off, because again, I don't want to overcook that rhubarb. And just leave that there. Beautiful, right. So we're going to give our mascarpone a bit of a beat, a bit of a press down. Can I have some hot water, please? In a jug. Thank you. See, I was relying on you guys to talk to me about the granola. You want to see me burn it, don't you? You really, yeah, don't all nod at once. Yeah, I know. Right, let's put that there. That'll do. It's only for a spoon. That's lovely. Right, check my granola. What temperature is this oven on? Yeah. Gas mark 1. That's right. What we'll do is we'll take your name and address. You can come back later and then we'll pick. No, it's. You
don't want to overcook granola, chef?
No. And my kingdom for a bowl. Sorry, I'm making all this noise. Sorry. There we go. Oh dear, I'm going to have to get funky with it, aren't I? Oh, don't do funky. Sorry? Oh, thank you very much, man. Could I have the paycheck to go along with James Martin's paycheck, please? I'll tell you. Yeah, that's a bit of fun, isn't it? Yeah, we haven't got 25 home economists sat there all doing the prep for you. If it burns, it's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. Right. Little trick as well. When you're doing, we're going to do a little quenelle of mascarpone on top of this, is that a little warm spoon, you'll just show you how to make a lovely, like you get in the restaurants, those lovely quenelle shapes. You don't need to have 25 years training as a chef to do it, honestly. They'll make it look so you have to, but it's because they don't want to be out of a job. Right. That's better. Now what we've got is, because I've chosen a tropical one here. Oh, hello. Sorry. Sorry. Tastes nice. The coconut's toasted. You know, the bananas are toasted. But it's sweet, but not too sweet. You know, it's what we want. Right. Let's just plate this up. And again, we've got all that lovely flavour in there. There's not too much liquid, because when you bite into it, you know, all the juice from the plums is going to come out. The rhubarb. Look at that, there we go. The vanilla. I've got a little bit of, see, all the flavour is still in that pan, nothing's escaped. And it's not doing the breaststroke in 3 pints of water. There's nothing worse than that. That's about as big a spoon as we get, is it? Right, okay. And then we're going to put the granola on top. Just a lovely, it's got toasted coconut in it, it's got all sorts of lovely bits and pieces. You know. Just like that. All over the top. And we got our spoon, bit of warm water, and then just like that. See? Dead easy. Now if we want to get a bit chefy, I don't know if we've got one. Did Bruce use them all, the strawberries? Yeah, typical. Right, I would garnish it with a strawberry, but should we do a bit of kiwi? Do a little bit of, this is on my, back to the retro 70s, yeah? Bit of a kiwi twist, there you go, you see. And as you can see, that's my roasted plum, rhubarb, vanilla, granola crumble with a passion fruit and vanilla mascarpone. Dead easy to do. I hope you'll have a go at it at home. Enjoy the food. Thanks for watching. In the next 20 minutes or 10 minutes or so, we're going to have Anton Piotrowski from Plymouth coming in, fantastic MasterChef Professionals winner. But thanks very much for watching, guys, and enjoy the rest of the show. All right.